social media clips of your podcast, it's like if there's a lesson to be learned, the algorithm loves when people start sharing it with each other. Just the funny shit they kind of share, but something like, hey, do this about mortgage interest rates or something like that and say it in an entertaining way. Boom, people are sharing that shit all over the place.
What up, guys? You may be wondering why my co-host looks like Smooth Willie Silk Daddy from a 1975 Players Ball convention in Atlanta. Ross, go ahead and tell him.
Hey, baby, you know what I'm saying? I'm just joking. Hey, we got John Cerasani up next. Dude's cool as silk, and if you talk to him sideways, he's coming for your throat, baby. Let's get some coins!
That was a lot of energy right there. Here, it's Blueberry, right? It's not John Cerasani's Blueberry. This is just a piece of crap tape. We don't got 500 million like John Cerasani, but we're working on it. What up, Chicago? We're taking over.
Click, like, subscribe. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Money, Loyalty, Legacy. My name is Matt.
You're here with your boy Ross, a.k.a. The Champ.
And today we have an awesome guest. He is a venture capitalist. He is an author. He is a black belt in the art of business and sales. He's a former tight end at the University of Notre Dame as well as Northwestern University. He was a reality star on the show Below Deck. He's a proud owner of a dope-ass waterfall located in his home. Some say he's the master at slaying internet trolls. He's a podcast host. He is social media's most prominent rising star. He's a proud Chicago native. He was a pioneer of the prank culture phenomenon with his own TV show back in the day called Bite Me.
Whoa.
Hey, now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man is quite possibly the smoothest and best running man dance move of all time for a man over 6 feet tall. We present to you the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. John Cerasani.
Hey,
What's up, brother?
Happy to be here, man. Happy to be here. Correction, for a white man over 6 feet tall. There's plenty of African Americans with better dance moves than me, but I will take it for a big white guy.
Exactly. Will you challenge them, though?
Yeah, I will. I'll go off. Listen, here's the thing. People aren't expecting me to have any moves, so the bar is set low, and then if I clap on rhythm, I get a cheer. You know.
I tell you right now, I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, holy, this man can move.
Yeah,
it is incredible.
Well, it all came from somebody challenging me, dude. They said somebody was talking. You said about the trolls. Someone was talking about, like, you know, I probably rode the bench at Notre Dame or whatever, and so I got up there. I was 6'5", 270. I started putting some Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock on, and it freaking took off. And I got to tell you, man, I do so much on social media, and I get the likes and I get the views, but the algorithm, it takes a second to catch up because it tries to find that audience. So I've always been like, are people buying fake likes and fake views when they have like 1,000 views, like 1,000 likes in the first 5 minutes or something? Like non-celebrity people, all right? And I'm like, a lot of them are. There are a lot of them are on social media. If you don't know that, you don't know much. There a lot of them are. But when I put that dance move out, I go, oh, you really could get 1,000 likes in like the first 2 minutes. Like literally, people went off on that thing. So I've made it my thing now. Every time I grow 50,000 followers, I'm doing a new dance routine.
Right on. So were you just like, well, I'm already rich as I want to be famous now too. Like, how did this whole social media rise? Why?
You know, it's funny, man. So when I was finally done working forever, it was the end of 2019, and I was out there traveling. I was doing all this with all this money I had now and all this freedom, and I was in the Bahamas, I was in Vegas, gambling, doing maybe not sleeping for a couple days at a time, like not maybe the most productive. And it's the stuff that really wasn't me, to be honest with you. So I took a kind of step back and said, all right, I got to have something going on here. I'm too young to just be done with anything productive. So I started a venture capital company called Glencrest Global. And I got in a lot of early stage venture capital deals, and I don't really need the money. It was more just to kind of like, hey, this will be fun. Aaron Rodgers started a company, let me invest in that. And anyway, it started putting me in the right circles with different people, and I got involved with a bunch of LA types of people and like that. And, as I started posting about that on Instagram, I started transitioning to like maybe give an investment advice, or I like this company because reminds me of how I built my company and this is what I did, and people were really kind of gravitating towards that. So I'm kind of inching along, man. 20,000, 30,000 followers. It's pretty popular. I'm pretty freaking excited, dude. It's like I grew up in Schaumburg. I'm just some normal guy, and I thought I was insta famous, with 20,000 followers, right? And last year, when I started just kind of like letting the fucking wheels off, man, and like talking about, what pisses me off, dude? The brainwash that exists in corporate America. They tried to hold me back. There's a famous reel that I did, one of the first ones that went viral. I'm in Cabo San Lucas in a hot tub, being like, you know what? If I still had my job, if I would have listened to everybody, I'd be checking my email right now, making sure that they don't take PTO days for me, trying to fool my boss, taking phone calls just enough so they don't take my vacation days. I wouldn't even have known places like this existed. I thought it was for like Tom Cruise and like that. And I got to tell you, man, the response on that video was huge. My followers went up from like 20,000 to like 60,000 from that one freaking video. Simultaneous to that, I was on the TV show, as you mentioned, Below Deck. Got a lot of action of that. And then I also had this comedian. I don't know if you guys know Bob Menery. Do you know who that is?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Okay.
I've been
well, me and him started around, and he was posting me on his shit. So it was kind of all at the same time. There was a business influencer named Brad Lee. I was on his podcast. It all kind of happened at the same time, and it took me forever to get to 50,000 followers. I went from 50,000 to 100,000 in like about 3 months. Now we really got some traction. And this last probably 7 or 8 months, I started kind of really leaning into, Matt, the gambling piece of it too. And I probably think half of my followings from that.
You have that shirt that you just released for like 16. No, I mean, obviously Legally Rich.
Yep.
We know that.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
By the way.
we're trying to get there too, brother. No, but the 16. Obviously, everyone really pays attention to you playing your big
blackjack,
right?
Yep.
And you have the shirts now. It's come 16 and hold it.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what it is?
The shirt says "Stay on 16," but
stay on 16.
It's the hand doing a sign saying, "You're a pussy if you stay on 16."
So let me ask you this, because there's so many people, myself as well, that gamble, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, what I'm saying? We were in Vegas, but whatever. Like, how do you just go there and drop like $25,000? And like, don't you say if you lost it?
Yeah.
Do you want it back or you walk away? Like, how do you do that?
Brother, listen, man, I got to tell you what, everything's relative. Okay, everything's relative, I'll tell you right now, dude, because like your net worth is in this bucket and how much you're gambling is in this bucket, and that ratio better be something you could tolerate, dude. All right? Because I got to tell you right now, when I was 22 years old and I lost $8,000 at the Elgin Grand Victoria Riverboat Casino, I didn't want to like get out of bed for the next 5 days. I was depressed because that was $8,000 that was on credit card cash advances. I didn't have the damn money. You know what I mean?
But you're out there with some like big high rollers, some famous people, right?
Well,
you're sitting there with them. So like, is it like more like, well, if they're doing it, then I got to do it, or how does that work?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Or do you have it? Because obviously you're legally rich, so you know how to maintain.
Yeah, not at all. The only time I'll tell you what, who's that guy? That baseball player from Caraco that was really good at the Atlanta Braves.
The pitcher?
Yeah. The Caraco kid.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it up.
Anyway, I'm in the Baja Mar with him, and there's a bunch of these Atlanta athletes, Roddy White. There's a bunch of us there. And it's like 6 in the morning. I'm gambling. I haven't like slept for a couple of days. And I'm sitting there at the blackjack table playing like $10,000 a hand. And I look over at him, and he's like future Hall of Famer, all this shit. He's paying like $50 a hand. And I'm thinking to myself, what the am I doing? And in Vegas casinos at 6 in the morning are there's action going on. There's people around. Maybe there are zombies. In the Bahamas, it's like a ghost town. No one's gambling. It's 6 in the morning. You feel like literally a loser. And so
are you up or down at this point?
Yeah, no, that was right after I sold my company, or right after I stopped working. There was kind of a bad 4-month stretch there that it wasn't just gambling. There's a lot of things that I need to get my head on straight about. But so anyway, so fast forward, I've been in situations, dude. I was just with Charles Barkley over the Super Bowl, man, where one of the people in his entourage followed me and came up to me and goes, "Hey, man, I follow you on Instagram," and was taking a picture with me. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm with Charles. You want to meet him?" "Yeah, I'll go meet Charles Barkley."
Right? And he's a huge gambler.
Dude, exactly. So I walk over there, and he actually gets up from the table, comes over, dabs me up. We're talking for a little bit and shit. Then I walk over to his table. He's playing the pumpkins per hand, $25,000 chips, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's playing it like nothing. I play $2,000. I mean, if I'm winning, I might go, or if I'm losing a lot, I might go up to like 10 or something like that. But usually $2,000 or $3,000. So again, everything's relative, dude. I'm pretty sure Charles Barkley has more money than me. You know what I mean? So that tolerance for $25,000 is different. You know what I mean?
Speaking of gambling, you had a post with Steve Will Do It gambling, correct?
Yeah.
Like, what was that? What are you doing with those dudes? And we're both new to the whole internet, social media world. The past year, we just kind of got into it because attention is currency, and the internet and social media is the future of all aspects of entertainment. So, how did you link up with them?
So I put together like this for you. So a good friend of mine's a guy named Jaleel White. You might know that name. He played Urkel on Family Matters back in the day. As a cool cannabis company now, and we've just made friends over the last 4 or 5 years. He's actually getting married next month. Anyway, he put it to me best. He goes, it's not one thing that you're out there doing. It's the aggregate of all of the things. And I think the thing you're talking about with Steve Will Do It. I don't know if being a part of that. Oh, I'm gonna get 50,000 new followers for it. But there were people that saw me on that live stream that had never seen me before. Now they might notice. Oh, Cerasani posted that thing with Charles Barkley around the same time. Oh, there's Bert Kreischer talking about him on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. It's the aggregate of every little thing that kind of puts you in those right rooms. You know what I mean? The Steve Will Do It podcast was interesting. We were both in Vegas at the same time. It was Super Bowl weekend. He was at the Celebrity Blackjack tournament that I was fortunate enough to get invited to, too. We started talking. I knew who he was. My kids, follow him and all this. I go, dude, I want to do a live stream blackjack with you. He goes, dude, I'd love to, and gives me his number. We exchange numbers. Calls me 2 days later, and I'm freaking over at Red Rock doing it with them. And they got that down, dude. He has a whole thing down. I mean, he basically snaps his fingers. 2 people are out there with their live stream cameras following him around. I'm mic'd up. If I had to do it over, if I was able to do that one over again, I would, though, bro. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
All right. What did you think? What did you think?
I mean, it looked like you were having fun.
Yeah.
I also will say we keep it real. Like on our podcast, we keep it real. But that Steiny dude seemed like he was being a little annoying. At
bro,
times, right?
I went back. I don't want to watch the whole thing, but I'll get clips sent to me because people chop it up and put them on YouTube or whatever, and I just crack up. I think I kind of forgot I was mic'd at a couple points. You know what I mean?
You're a man of very few words, so I can start there, right?
The thing is, though, you keep it real. That's the one thing we really respect. There's no with you, right? Like on social media and all that,
right?
Say what you want to say. You know what I mean? So it's like that kind of thing. Real recognizes real.
Right.
That's a big reason why we want to have you on, is because you are who you are. You know what I mean? And you say what the you want. You know what I mean? It's respectable.
Well, and there was some ball busting going on that thing too, right? So to this day, there's some of Steve's followers will comment on my Instagram that I stole 40 grand from him. I go, what the are you guys talking about? And then I find myself arguing, and it's like, well, wait a minute. Steve doesn't think I stole 40 grand. Yeah. They somewhere in that video, somebody in the comments got the idea that I ripped him off 40 grand, and Steve doesn't think that. It didn't happen.
Right.
Why am I arguing with this person accusing me of on my comments? You know what I mean?
Because you really need the 40 grand, right? It's like
exactly. They don't know what me and Steve set up. It didn't really freaking matter what they meant. But it was a good time. I think I was a little bit. I think I wasn't fully aware of how well those mics worked. I don't know, when the cameras were over there and I was still back here. I didn't know you guys could still hear me. And then I was trying to be funny, busting actually a friend of mine's balls a little bit, Bob Menery, and he got pissed because honestly, here's the thing, dude. I was busting Bob's balls saying, because he with me on something before I went on there. So I go, yeah, Bob said he's bigger than Happy Dad and Full Send combined. Obvious joke, dude. Obvious joke. Right. Well, one of Bob's little followers starts messaging him. Did you see what Cerasani said about you on Steve's live stream? Blah, 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 blah. So, and I know for a fact Bob wasn't even watching it, but now he's just like, because he listens to people and but it was stupid. I wish I didn't actually say it because it was kind of a sensitive time because he had just re-signed to start doing some of the Full Send podcast. So it probably wasn't a good idea for me to make it a off-color joke like that.
Who would you be if you didn't say it, though? That's what you do.
Yeah, dude.
You know
Keep it real.
Like that's expected with you, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, dude, and we're all friends, and anybody watching it would know.
If you're busting balls, you're busting balls.
Exactly. But the problem is, it's also Super Bowl weekend. So do a regular weekend in Las Vegas, but combine times it up by 1,000 with a million things going on. So now just like you're walking and someone's in Bob's ear saying, "You hear what Cerasani said about you?" It's not like he's going to take the time to go back and review the tape. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So it's just like, all right, man, whatever. And it honestly was, whatever the phrase is, water under the bridge or water over the bridge, whatever the it is. Like 2 days later, it was fine. But what I'm saying though is I did get some clips back, and I'm like, dude, I was a little loud and drunk on that.
You were enjoying yourself.
Well, you're small presence. You walk in, you towered over me. I'm like, I can't wait till I hit puberty. Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't know we were going to do it that night either. I'm at the casino hanging out, drinking Bloody Marys and whatever, and Steve can text me, "Hey, you want to do it tonight?" Kind of like half in the bag already. I'm like, "Oh yeah, come right over." So
no, they look good.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bob Menery,
sure.
I've had some interactions with him on Instagram, just briefly in DMs or whatnot, as we were starting to get the social, trying to figure out the social media world.
Yeah.
And Bob's a prominent figure on the podcast scene. Were you there when he got filleted on that Nelk podcast? Because I mentioned Dana White's like, "Oh, your sugar daddy." That was you he was talking about.
No, it wasn't.
That wasn't you.
No.
Sure.
In fact, me and Bob weren't even talking around that time. I had a couple of people that said that, and I'm not sure exactly who was being referred to. He is friends with another guy named John, who's a businessman out in Arizona who I've met a few times. Is a really good guy. I don't know if that's who Dana was referring to or what, but Dana has only met me once, and that was through Steve Will Do It. So I don't even know if Dave knows I'm associated with Bob.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're like the third person that's brought that up to me, by the way.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It sounded like for sure that was you.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. The only thing, Bob's followers got to know me because last summer, he was in West Hollywood, and I let him stay in my place. He was supposed to stay there for 2 days, and ended up staying in my condo in West Hollywood for like a month. So we started doing a funny, like, kind of Instagram spiel about it. Like, remember the movie What About Bob back in the day where Bill Murray wouldn't leave? What about Bob? And then mysteriously, I got pink eye when I visited, and I'm like, dude, what the going on here? I fall asleep on a couch like this, and it ended up being the worst case of pink eye. My ophthalmologist right down the street from here, he goes, "I've been doing this for 30 years. This is the worst case of pink eye I've ever seen." Dude, I had pink eye for 4 months. It ruined my summer, dude.
Like, Bob, you gotta balance, bro. You're clean the couch, dog.
Yeah, it was pretty effing funny, dude. It was funny, but I was getting like really worried about my eye. It was getting to the point where like you're starting to worry that it's never gonna heal.
Like, it was just swollen,
dude. It was like, imagine somebody with pink eye, but like that bad for 4 months, and it was getting worse each day, and it got to the point where the inside of my effing eyelid started to have like abrasions on the inside of my eyelid, so it hurt all the time, like somebody's poking you in the eye. So I always had the sensation with my eyelid like that I was getting poked in the eye, but it was really by like I had an eyelash in my eye, but it's really just the abrasions. So we had to start wearing corrective like contact lenses to like protect
that bad from pink eye?
Dude, it was so bad, dude. It's so bad.
And you're an eye doctor,
bro. I got upgraded 3 different times. So I went to the Minute Clinic at first, and they look at me and they go, "Ooh, you need to see a optometrist." And then I go to see the. And I couldn't get in the optometrist for like 3 days. I'm hoping this pink eye, it's going to go away after a few days. It's been like 5 days now. So in between, somebody puts it in my head that it might be gonorrhea in the eye.
so he's not freaking out.
So I'm waiting for the optometrist appointment. I've never told the surgeon. So I'm waiting for the optometrist appointment. So I go to like my urologist. And they're kind of laughing at me. They go like, babies get gonorrhea in the eye. Adults don't usually, unless you're like, what were you doing with your eye, buddy?
Well, I was,
So,
sleeping on the couch.
so I'm like, just in case, because honestly, I fell asleep on that couch. I don't know whose bare ass was on that couch. You know what I mean? So, they end up doing the STD test, but those are going to take a few days. And I go, listen, this is real
Fucking eye?
dude. So I had to do a regular STD test to see if I have anything. You know what I mean? And I go, listen, I don't want to wait if I have something here. So they end up giving me a shot in my ass. Oh, I don't know, it's penicillin or whatever. Yeah. All right. So I did that. Okay, the STD test come back 2 days later. I end up not having anything, and it wasn't gonorrhea. It's just a bad case of pink eye. Okay, but we weren't sure at this time. Okay, I go to the optometrist. Okay, the next day. All right, at the optometrist, she's looking at my eye, and she's like, "Oh my god!" Like, oh, making noises and stuff.
Now
She
you're
looked
freaking
at it.
out more. It's like, dude, that's your job.
So I got like a side effect from the shot the day before and got like super nauseous and like sweaty. And as she's looking at me, and now I had pink eye now for like 8 days. This is getting on my nerves. I like start to freak out and start sweating at the optometrist. Okay. She calls the ambulance. I have to talk the ambulance out of taking to the emergency room because I never told her about the shot the day before. So now in hindsight, I look back and figure out, okay, it was probably from that shot, but like she like thought like something was like really wrong with me and like literally called the ambulance to the paramedic. So anyway, I end up going to the primary care physician. He ends up then referring me to an ophthalmologist. And this guy, his name is Dr. Dr. Mack, right in Hoffman Estates right here. And he was good, man. He's been around the block, and he goes, "Ooh, it's one of the worst cases I ever seen." Like, thanks, buddy. Thanks, man. And then he's scaring the out of me. He goes, "You want to wear this protective lens, but I'm going to tell you right now, don't go into a pool because if chlorine gets behind it and it gets stuck, amoebas could form behind your eye, and you don't want that. I'm telling you, you don't want that."
Could you try from pink eye? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, it could lead to other things that cause. I mean, it was getting pretty bad. I mean, it took 3 months.
Yeah.
Like,
So the guy who laid on that couch bare ass.
Yeah.
Take a shower, dude.
Exactly,
Jesus,
dude.
or do something,
Let's
bro.
go over Bob head over at the place. Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
nightmare.
Dude, it's the worst. It was the worst, bro.
You guys made some good content, though. I watched those pods that you guys did while he was staying with you. How'd you link up with him? He's a wild man, by the way.
Dude, he was on my podcast, and I was just getting go. I'd been doing it for a little bit, but I wasn't really that popular yet or whatever. And then he asked me. He was he wanted to do this podcast in Boston, interviewing these kids that got attacked by a bear in Wyoming, and they were flying. And I got these bear kids coming in. Who? You look it up on Google. These kids got mauled by a bear and blah blah. And they played college athletics, and he thought I would fit in well with it. And anyway, so he had me come out to be a co-host on that pod, and we spent the weekend together, and we just kind of started hanging out.
Yeah,
it was good. He never actually ended up airing that podcast either. Like, he came out there for no reason, but it was good content.
Yeah, no, he is a walking comedy skit with some of the shit he posts on Instagram, man. Some of those videos are absolutely incredible.
You know, he's funny, man. So yeah, if he just sticks to the voiceovers, I think he'd probably have triple the following. To be honest with you, he's so funny with those voiceovers, man. It's he starts talking about everything else in his personal life where he kind of loses some people.
Yeah. So the one thing about the podcast with Bob, the one thing that stood out in my mind, well, there's multiple things that stood out, but one thing that struck a chord with me was you brought up the earlier days of the entertainment industry via MTV, Tom Green, Jackass, the Glorious DJ Scribble, the Spring Break. You talked about that. I'm like, I haven't thought about that in forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're talking about movies with Jamie Kennedy. I'm like, man, this guy knows his entertainment. You know what I mean? He knows the cultural relevancy from decades ago, which doesn't really get brought up that much anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That Jamie Kennedy podcast, bro. It's funny, man. You guys, I don't know if you're around the same age category as me, but I look back and I see like a Jamie Kennedy, and I'm like, dude, this is like a feather in my cap getting Jamie Kennedy on my pod, And recently I had Sendog from the black guy from Cypress Hill on my podcast. This is cool, man.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting though. Those kinds of ones don't always get the most play on social media, but I don't give a dude. That's an asset that I was a part of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, even for ourselves, we have like, former like UFC guys, like guys that started UFC, you know what I'm saying?
I had Randy Couture on.
Yeah. We have like Shoney Carter, who was like an innovator, crazy dude, whatever. Obviously nowadays it's like what's hot, what's popping, you know what I'm saying? So it's just what it is. But
Unfortunately with social media, the views, like you go take a top like OnlyFans girl, you're gonna get more views than Michael Jackson.
Yeah, she's stroking a balloon with her foot.
Yeah.
Farting in a jug.
Yeah. But
I mean, I'm farting in jugs for $50,000.
Whatever. I don't know about for 50,000. What, how much?
I'm still gonna buy it or whatever,
No, but the Jamie Kennedy podcast I really enjoyed a lot. Malibu's Most Wanted. It's one of my all times, bro.
Hilarious.
All times, dude. And it's funny though, man. You got that nostalgic in your own head, and it doesn't always translate because there might be something you remember from your childhood and why this stands out. Like Jamie Kennedy had the TV show Jamie Kennedy Experiment. That was the original prank show, or one of them. You know what I mean? And it's like that didn't stand the test of time. No one's talking about it anymore. Go watch that on YouTube right now. The shit's still hilarious, man.
100%.
For whatever reason, whatever production company was behind it or whatever, it didn't go into syndication or whatever. But it's some funny. And I'll give you another example, dude. I had you guys remember Icky Woods, the Icky Shuffle?
Oh yeah.
I had him speak at one of my dinners, and to me, that's dude, Icky Woods. You know what I mean? But like, if you're look at his career, he didn't really play that long, and there's other guys just as good or better than him over the years. You know what I mean? But to me, that's Icky Woods, man. There's something in your own head that makes someone stand out to you, and you forget that. Maybe this feeling or emotion is not necessarily universal. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's crazy, though, because even yesterday or 2 days ago, there's a guy that I'm friends with on Instagram. He posted one of your videos, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like it was just like a post or, whatever. And I'm friends with the guy, and I'm like, dude, we're about to have him on the podcast.
Nice.
He's like, oh, no, dude, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it's the same type of thing. Like, there's people that are obviously totally into you.
Yeah.
And, like, you're talking or you're just talking in general about, like, obviously, you're all over the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
But also, at the end of the day, you also really big on being motivated yourself, doing what you got to do, go out there, hustle, man, and we respect that, and that's why it's a good thing that you're on here.
Thanks, man.
You talk a lot of so you talk a lot of shit, but you're really big into being yourself and also never stopping what you want to pursue.
It's funny as a I guess an influencer. I never would have called myself that, but I guess that's what it is at this point, right? It's when I put reels out there early on. I'd be like, people ask me all the time, and then like get into like whatever lesson I want to teach. And then the trolls would be in the comment, no one asked you that. Who's asking you these questions? You know what I mean? They're like, no one gives a what you say.
Yeah.
And now, and it would happen, but maybe I would just use that as a segue to start a conversation. You know what I mean? But now, like literally in my DMs, like probably if there was less than 10 in a 3-day period, I'd be surprised. Somebody saying, dude, you're super motivating, super inspiring. And I always know when one of my reels that's been out starts getting recirculated, going viral, because I'll start getting like a flood. Holy man, hey man, I grew up in Schaumburg too, or hey man, I just want you to know I worked in insurance too. I'm like, oh, that one's obviously going viral right now, because sometimes it's like 2 months later that goes viral. It's actually nuts,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really know that how many feathers you have in your cap. You've done a lot of in your life. You know what I mean? You played football. I mean, I consider playing Notre Dame being in the NFL.
I'm wearing a tracksuit, by the way, just
Oh yeah.
Let you know.
You sold your company to private equity, reality star, now social media star. You had mentioned before that you were very into the arts. You're into creating, which I respect. I work professionally in the arts. Both of us are creative guys. That's kind of our forte. But you also you were doing the reality show prank before it was even a thing, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people aren't really familiar with you doing that. You know, Can you talk about that a little bit? And
Dude, where did you pick that up? Was that on the Jamie Kennedy show?
I watched all your shit.
Was it?
No.
Talk about
there
that,
was some random dude Stacks or some.
I told him about it.
Yeah.
Oh, you watched that one?
Oh yeah, I watched everything you've done.
Stacks doesn't even have a big viewership, man. Good work, buddy. He's a good guy.
I did my research.
Yeah, that Stacks guy's funny, man. If he's listening right now, dude, he's a New York guy and a former convict that's doing big things or good things for himself and trying to get going on social media. But anyway, yeah, dude. Here's the thing, man. When you're a high schooler that's destined to play college football, especially at a place like Notre Dame, you're kind of pretty identified. Like when I was in 8th grade, I was, you knew I was doing something. Maybe not Notre Dame, but I was going at least somewhere for football. I was bigger, I was faster, I was more athletic. For a big guy, I was as pretty athletic. You know what I mean? So you knew that I was going to like kind of grow into that. And football dominates you. You know what I mean? What else are you going to do? Even if like, you know, even if you're playing in a Division III school, but you're a good baseball player or a good pitcher, and, you know, that's dominating your life. You have very few opportunities to do anything else. And I had gone to the public access TV network. This is actually before Wayne's World even came out. And went to the class, got access to film in their TV studio, and put on a TV show, bro. And it was not a ripoff of Wayne's World at all. Wayne's World actually came out right after that. And it was like, holy shit. And then a couple years later, the Tom Green shows come out, and then Jackass and everything else. We were doing all that first, bro. We were doing all that first. I mean, I guess in the 60s and 70s, Candid Camera was the original one doing this, right? But yeah, man. So we did 3 episodes. It's pretty funny, you know what I mean? And, you know, luckily I was able to get my friends all to kind of participate in it, but maybe they otherwise wouldn't want anything to do with it, but we all played football together. Hey, I need guys on the show, you know. So we did 3 episodes. It was called Bite Me. The name of the show, Bite Me. Yeah, exactly.
A great name. I mean, you were like an innovator for that. I mean, honestly, that is a great name to begin with.
Most people would never know that. I think that's fascinating, because it shows that, you know, you have so many different sides of you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're not just the business guy. You know what I mean? The guy in insurance. I think it's important for the people to see all different facets of you.
Thanks, man. Thanks, dude. I tried to even when I was at Notre Dame, they had a campus radio station that I would guest DJ on every once in a while, and my time at Notre Dame ended up being short-lived because I got a little bit of trouble. But I think one of the things you do as, you know, I tell my daughter this right now because she's not necessarily taking advantage of all the opportunities. You know, when you're in college, there's a lot of right there for you. They want you to try things. It's all there for you. That doesn't really exist. It exists as an adult, but you got to go find it. Yeah. On a college campus, it's right there, dude. Right. You know?
Yeah. So obviously being in front of the mic is just your forte then. You know, like, I mean, like, you know, you say like, oh, I got done with, you know, all this and, you know, whatever. Yeah. And like, what am I going to do? Like, this is obviously your niche because you've been doing it from the jump.
Yeah, so, I guess, man. I guess I can tell you this, though. This stage of my life, though, it's kind of fun. I'm obsessive. I'm OCD about this, just like I was about my company. And now I'm using like a different side of my brain, which is kind of, I wake up and just like, oh, spit out. Like, my sister, well, she'll see this. She'll be like, is this funny? She goes, I don't know, because I'm listening to you all day. I don't know, is this too much? I know, but the audience won't hear it 12 times. They're just going to hear it once. You know what I mean? And then you try it out and see how it goes. But no, dude, I'm having a lot of fun with it, man.
No, it's awesome because even the one video you did, and like also you spit. You know, and it felt like most people like, you know, they would like redo that, right? Yeah. And it was so authentic. I started dying laughing. And you look down, and you're like, oh, me.
Whoops, exactly.
It was hilarious, but like it just shows the character that you are. Like, you know, sometimes I am what I am. I mess up. Who cares? We all laugh. We have a good time. But I died laughing at that one. It was hilarious.
Well, and that one's a good one, dude. A good example of how the algorithm works, dude. Because I would have thought that one, it was so funny, right, dude? Anybody that watches that video, I'm literally talking about how I'm at this hotel now that I own part of, and I used to go to this hotel trying to make president's clubs, and I'm getting into this big thing, getting everyone amped up to quit their job in corporate America, and a big spit comes out the back, and you could tell it was authentic because it wasn't like as I was talking, it came from the back of my mouth and it lands on my shirt, and as I'm videotaping myself, I go, whoop, I kind of laughed at myself, and then I just cut it. Well, I'm looking at the tape, and I'm like, dude, you know what, I'm gonna just post this as is, knowing though that my followers that know me are gonna love this. But it's not going to go bigger with the algorithm outside of that, because if you don't follow me and you watch that, like, who the f*** is this guy? You know what I mean? So I'm learning this as I go, how the algorithm works, man. And I'd have to look, but I think that maybe stopped around 80,000 or 90,000 views, where it's hilarious. So this should have been 1 million, you know what I mean? And it stopped because it wasn't funny to those outside of my following. Right. You know what I mean? And also people aren't maybe necessarily forwarding it and sharing it with each other. The biggest thing I've found, and you guys will probably see this when you post social media clips of your podcast, it's like if there's a lesson to be learned, the algorithm loves when people start sharing it with each other. Just the funny shit they kind of share, but something like, hey, do this about mortgage interest rates or something like that and say it in an entertaining way. Boom, people are sharing that shit all over the place, you know?
Can you talk about your reality show that you are producing?
Yeah, man. So it's called The Partner. It's called John Cerasani's The Partner. It's going to start in second half of April. We are still editing it, so it's going to be somewhere low end 8 episodes, high end 10 episodes, and we've already filmed it all. We just got a post production edit how we want to chop it up. But it's cool, man. So I put it out there for Chicago entrepreneurs, just because I didn't want people flying in from all over the country for this. It's too much pressure. Go, if you're Chicago based only, was the criteria. Pitch me an idea, and it didn't. I was vague. So you want me to be your business partner? And we had people coming in where, hey man, I want to be your, I want to be your mentee. We had other people being like, hey, I want to, buy a franchise, and I want you to partner with me, and kind of everything in between. So I don't want to wreck the show, but walked out of the season with multiple partnerships, and pretty excited about it.
Nice.
Yeah,
do you want to pursue the entertainment world further, as like outside of your show?
So I like the fact that I have a platform that I could enhance other businesses with, right? So let's say, I don't want to be exact here, but let's say I got involved with 4 business deals where I now own a small percentage of those companies, all right? And if there's something I could do with my business acumen or my existing platform to amplify what those existing businesses are already doing, and that's worth something to them in terms of equity for me, this is a great deal, man. You know what I mean? So legally put that kind of shit in writing and let's go. I don't want to go full-fledged and start another company that I'm operating and everything else like that, because if I did, I would just get back into insurance. I know how to do that, but I just decided I don't want to. So to get to your question, the media stuff really, I think, is it for me, dude. Like if I could actually make money doing this, that would be great. I'm fortunate where I'm in a position because I sold my company. I don't really need to make money, but like, dude, you talk about like, dude, I got to beat Joe Rogan a couple weeks ago. Hey, Spotify wants to give me $30 million. Oh, I'll consider it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I haven't walked into this with that as my goal to be like the next Joe Rogan or something. I haven't really walked into it with really any goals. It's kind of just happening as it happens.
Right. Okay. We got so we interview all different types of people, and one of the guys that we interviewed is a guy named Gene Borello. He the ex-mob guys that turned their life around are huge on social media nowadays.
Okay.
Sammy Gravano, Gene Borello, all these guys. Gene Borello was an enforcer in the Bonanno crime family, right? And it's been brought to my attention that you have some connections in that world as well. Loosely, is that correct? We're actually go ahead.
So wait, Gene is current. How old is he?
He's 39.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But he knows all the old timers. Like he knew Vinny Asaro, all the famous guys that in that life. He's still around.
Yeah. Ronnie G.
So here's how I answer it. There's a guy named John Cerasani. Booby Cerasani. That was his nickname was Booby, but his name's John Cerasani. He's one of the characters that's depicted in Donnie Brasco. If you read the book Donnie Brasco, they use the real names, and he's in there. I don't like to talk about whether we're related or not because it's a criminal. But I'll say this. He is taught about in law classes, all right? And there's a case study that he did that's kind of impressive, all right? He sued Sony Pictures for the depiction of him in the movie Donnie Brasco where they painted him as a killer. Well, he never got convicted of the murders that he did in there, okay? Mm-hmm. So we sued him for libel and defamation of character. It goes all the way up, all right, to I think the New York Supreme Court or some, maybe not Supreme Court, but some New York judge made it's taught in law school as a case study, precedent or whatever that you can't sue somebody for defamation, even though this was defamation. You can't sue somebody for defamation if you already have that bad of a reputation.
Really?
So he's such a bad reputation that exists, it cannot be defamed any further.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's in there? That's a clause?
Yeah.
Like the thing?
So that's what the judge ruled.
Yeah.
And it's actually taught in law schools. And as my social media, I haven't thought about this for years. Somebody explained this to me like 10 years ago, and I haven't thought about it for years. And somebody as recently as a couple weeks ago said, hey, he asked me if I was related to Booby because we learned about him in law school and exactly what I had told you guys. So it's kind of a cool Cool little feather, I guess.
Yeah.
But what was cool though is, man, when I first started, when the internet got big and everything else in the early 2000s, we'd all Google ourselves, right, or Yahoo ourselves back then, right? And John Cerasani, that case, because it was more recent back then, was a bigger deal. Right. He would always be ahead of me on the Google charts, and then be John Cerasani, Notre Dame.
Right.
Now he's a few pages deep because it's old news, and he passed away. But yeah.
And obviously, you're a very proud Chicagoan, right?
Right.
You know, Schaumburg. I do respect that because, you know, we went to Western Michigan together at college, and like, you know, I'm from Chicago, and the guys were like, oh, I'm from Naperville. I'm like, they're like, I'm from Chicago. I'm like, bro, you ain't from Chicago.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
argument.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm from Chicago, down by Midway Airport, you know, whatever. But so what are the things that you like about Chicago? Because obviously you're very, very proud Chicagoan from Schaumburg. But like, you know, you're big in Chicago. So what do you love about the city?
Well, dude, here's what's so funny, man. The reason I even talk about that on social media was one post where I was just trying to be funny. I wasn't even really trying to be funny because it was accurate. I was saying, like, hey, I'm just some dude from Schaumburg, and I was supposed to be happy with my job in corporate America making $140,000, and that should have been good enough for me. I already made it for a guy from Schaumburg. And I go, that, I'm going to define my own ceiling. I'm going to keep going. And it was a very motivating thing, and it was super natural how it came out too. How the whole thing was just me talking. But like, people misunderstood the real that aren't from here. Then they started thinking like Schaumburg's like a hood, like it's a ghetto. They're like, dude, he got the out of Compton, bro. Come on, made it, bro.
Dude, you get street cred when I get street cred,
dude,
bro.
seriously. So then I've made some other reels kind of like leaning into it, kind of like, you know, if you ain't ever been to Schaumburg, don't ever come. So people that get it, that gets hilarious. Every once in a while, people won't get it and be like, dude, you need to get out more if you think Schaumburg is a rough area. You know,
it's like the Jamie Kennedy thing, you know?
Dude, exactly. Elwood's both the one, exactly. But no, man, I think Chicago is great, dude, and I think it's overlooked. And as I've kind of you know, I guess matured or become a little bit more worldly in life and spent time obviously overseas, but really even just here, even in LA and New York, okay? LA and New York people aren't sitting there talking about Chicago, okay? In Chicago, we're very aware of New York. We're very aware of LA. I don't think they're very aware of Chicago, really, at all. I think Chicago, they'll take it like they take Philadelphia or Atlanta or something like that. It's not like a big deal to them, you know what I mean? And the fact of the matter is, you come to Chicago, dude, our lakefront and dude, it's I had dinner this is a while ago with Dee Snider, the guy from Twisted Sister. He had never been to Chicago before.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wait, how long ago?
2014.
I'm not trying to cut you off, but
2014.
2014, he's never been to Chicago?
Yeah, it was his first time in Chicago in 2014. Well, he said he had done concerts.
Yeah, I'm
but
saying he just went and bounced and left.
Yeah, being in and out of tour buses. He never actually spent time. Yeah, exactly. And actually, he was at the Rosemont Horizon for his concerts. He wasn't even in the city, he said. So, this was his first day. He did a play in the city it was called Rock and Roll Musical, and I was involved in it, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we spent a bit of time together, and he goes, dude, he characterized it like this. Chicago is New York's prettier little sister. I'll take that. And you go spend some time in New York, and here's what I always tell people: Chicago's blessed, dude. It's kind of counterintuitive, but the Chicago fire, whenever it happened in 1870 or whenever it was, that burning of the city down, us being able to rebuild the city the right way, go compare to Chicago and New York, dude. Those buildings on top of each other. There's no room for sidewalks, barely. There's no alleys. You know what I mean? They rebuilt Chicago the damn right frickin' way, man. And I'll put our lakefront up against anybody, man.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chicago, you were a nightclub promoter in Chicago, right? So like you're very in tune with what the hot spots are. Is that a fair assessment? Like,
well,
right?
more so 25 years ago.
Okay,
but yeah.
but
I know it's hot. I know it's hot. Hey, by the way, I want to qualify that. Just anybody listening now that hears nightclub promoter, there's a certain gist that would come with it, whether it's positive or negative. You have some kind of judgment about it. Okay. In the late 90s and early 2000s, there was no social media. To be a nightclub promoter actually took talent, not just posting on your Instagram and Facebook, all right? I had a network that I built. It was called Star 69 Events. I had all the DePaul kids and the young alum from DePaul, Northwestern, Loyola, UIC, University of Chicago, and a network all on my email list, and we could fill 600 people at a bar any given weekend, and they're all paying a $10 cover to this right here, and they're happy to pay it, dude.
Yeah.
All right. And, and then I got a job in corporate America after college, and I kind of kept doing it, but I was kind of doing it half-assed. Eventually, it went fully away. And the reason it went away, because after Facebook came out, everyone and their mom became promoters, and you didn't have to pay these promoters anymore. They would just give them drink tickets or give them a free bottle of the club. That's what so okay, John, do we give you the $6,000 you're going to collect at the door? Or do we give this guy a free bottle of Grey Goose? Let me think here. You know what I mean? And that's literally what happened. I kind of wish, looking back in my life, though, dude, it's not really a regret because life's turned out pretty well for me, professionally at least, and well, in every way, really, but professionally, definitely. One of the maybe things I would kind of redo is looking closer at that promotion company that I built, dude, and go get a job in corporate America. You got a degree from Northwestern. Go get a job with a 401k, little buddy. You go do that. Not the seedy nightlife industry, dude. I had a network, bro, and I was making $6,000 cash any given weekend. I wasn't making that when I worked in white collar America, dude. Uncle Sam's taking my money. You know what I mean? Like I literally think I could have grown that into potentially like a Live Nation or some like that, dude, because I was starting to do concerts too. But
how did that get to that point? Because obviously I think that's a building block from how you came and obviously being so successful in your business.
Right.
You just went around like, hey, bro, I got you. Let's go grab some chicks from the dorms or whatever, and let's rock and roll.
No, man, I would make flyers, dude. So back in the day, I would kind of like reverse engineer. So all the nightclubs would be putting flyers on everybody's windshields and all this shit. And they'd be like these really good graphics, dude, and it would have the DJ's name and be like all like graphic design artist and I was like more old school, and I did it like intentionally simple. Like I wanted to make it seem like a homemade like invitation. So I'd make it at like Kinko's on cardstock paper, and it helped that I was popular, so I had all the Northwestern football team come in, and then it started with the Northwestern and just kind of grew from there. I was dating a girl at DePaul all the time, so she brought all her sorority and stuff. But I'd grind, dude. I'd be out there every frat.
In college, right?
Dude, in college.
Did you make that much money in college, though?
Bro, I was killing it. We weren't allowed to make money back then either, so I had to like not even put my name on anything. Because college, it was college football. We weren't allowed to make money. Now I'm like laughing. This kid's getting paid all this money. I'm like, dude, I had to sneak around, pretend to send it. I'd like use other people's computers to send anonymous emails. So I'd copy it. I had one of those floppy disks with everybody's emails on it, and I'd copy and paste the whole thing, and then I'd go into the Academic Student Service Center on a computer where I didn't have to log in, go into their Outlook, and blind carbon copy, and only let you like carbon copy like 200 at a time, and then I'd have to go to the sent file or the sent box, the outbox, and change like who it's coming from. They put star 69 events at yahoo.com, you know what I mean? And literally sit there for an hour just pressing the send, redoing it. Funny story with that. Once I forgot, whoever was using the computer before me had it logged in with their signature line, and I sent it out. and this person got so pissed because there was people on that email list that didn't want to be on the email list.
Of course, yeah.
And they go, so they started calling the woman up and being like, I've been telling you to stop emailing me 8 times, all this. But no, dude, I grinded, bro. I grinded, so it was a good thing. But I cut you off. You're gonna ask me about nightlife in Chicago.
Yeah, like like nowadays, like where do you go out nowadays? Like let's say you're going out in the city, right?
Yeah.
Like, for people that aren't familiar with Chicago, there's a lot of places out here, right?
Yeah.
Like say you're going out and you're looking at fun. Say you're going out with the guys or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where do you go out? Where do you go to dinner? Where do you go to party at? What do you do?
Well, I got to endorse a place that I'm a part owner of. I own part of Old Crow Smokehouse in Wrigleyville. It's a country western place and awesome barbecue food. It's big box place right by the Cubs Stadium, Old Crow Smokehouse. So that's a fun place. But if I'm going out like on a date or something like that, I go downtown. I usually go to River North. Everyone's kind of like in the West Loop now. My buddy owns Gino and Marty's in the West Loop, which is very popular. It's a smaller place, but high-end Italian. I personally like going to Steak 48 and Mastro's. The demographic kind of in River North has changed a little bit, surprisingly. Everyone was telling me it's changed over there. I didn't believe it till I was there a couple of weeks ago. It definitely has. And when I say demographic, I'm talking about like maybe not catering to people that look like me right now, but like I don't really mind it because that steak's just as good at that place.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I get along with everyone, so you know what I mean. I did try to walk into this one, like a nightclub, and like the kind of music stuff. And,
Did you stay or did you walk out?
it's like, hey, I'm here. It had actually changed. It was Benny's Chop House on Wabash, right across from the Trump, is now like an urban like nightclub or something.
Yeah,
I was
for sure.
I was going in there for a drink and whatever, and it was only like 9 p.m. and whoever's doing it's doing it right. They had a big I don't know if it was necessarily a hip hop party, but it was definitely that demographic, and it was slammed there, and everybody was well dressed, and you could tell people were in there spending money. It just wasn't like, what the you, buddy. You know,
having a good time.
So, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of good little lounges in that area, like the Viagra Triangle. Is what I refer to it as. You know what I mean? There's a lot of cool places out there. You know what I mean? That's always been my favorite part of the city to go out.
Yeah. So Gibson's Steakhouse and Hugo's Frog Bar are kind of like my staples. I don't think you could go wrong. Whenever I saw someone visit from out of town, I'll recommend those places. And what's cool about those places too is they're not as expensive as some other places. So like Chicago Cod or Maple and Ash, there's like $80 and $90 steaks on their menu. So if you're trying to take, you know, a business associate out for dinner or something like that, and you're not used to Chicago, well, you take them to a place that has an $80 ribeye, they're going to order the $80 ribeye. Right. You know, you go to Gibson's and it's not cheap, but their steaks aren't that expensive like that. It's more like a $50 rib, you know.
And they're still good.
Yeah, exactly. And Gibson's to me is more. There's a lot of places with better steaks than Gibson's, but Gibson's atmosphere, I think, is.
Oh yeah,
You know,
that's great.